This interview is conducted in both English and Portuguese. Essa entrevista será conduzida em ambos, inglês e português. Hello everyone, my name is Vicia. For those who are not yet familiar with me, the name Madonna Vicia reflects my deep passion, or let's say, my addiction to everything related to Madonna. Together with Sama, I had the pleasure of interviewing Giulio, the author of the book Madonna Songbook. Shortly after the interview, my personal copy of the book arrived. For our podcast members, I've already shared a preview, and if you are not yet part of our community, you can find the link in our Instagram bio, Madonna Vicia Podcast. This is, without a doubt, the best book about Madonna I have ever had the privilege of seeing in my entire life. And I don't say this legally. I've been a fan of Madonna since 1982, and over the years, I have seen countless books about the Queen of Pop from all over the world. I've seen it all, literally, but this truly something unique. Only someone who shares the same passion and devotion, someone who understands the impact Madonna has had on our lives, could have created something so extraordinary. Every page of flows with love, dedication, and a visceral connection to the true essence of the artist. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Giulio for choosing our podcast as the platform to introduce his book to the Brazilian big audience. Thank you so much, Giulio. It was truly an honor for us. And of course, thank you for listening. Just a quick heads up. The interview is in English, and neither Sama or I are native speakers or teachers, but we did our very best with lots of love. Now, let's get into the episode. Thank you so much. Olá pessoal, eu sou a Vicia e para quem ainda não me conhece, o nome Madonna Vicia é porque sim, eu sou completamente viciada em Madonna. Eu e a Sama tivemos o prazer de entrevistar o Giulio, autor do livro Madonna Songbook. E olha, meu exemplar chegou logo depois da gravação. Quem faz parte do nosso grupo de membros já viu o livro de perto. Se você ainda não faz parte, é só acessar o link que está na bio do nosso Instagram, @MadonnaViciaPodcast. Este é, sem dúvida, o melhor livro sobre Madonna que eu já tive o privilégio de ver em toda a minha vida. E eu não falo isso levianamente. Sou fã da Madonna desde 82 e ao longo dos anos já vi incontáveis livros sobre a rainha do pop em diversas partes do mundo. Já vi de tudo, literalmente. Mas esse é algo realmente único. Só alguém que compartilha da mesma paixão e devoção, alguém que entende o impacto de Madonna em nossas vidas, poderia ter criado algo tão extraordinário. Cada página transborda amor, dedicação e uma conexão visceral com a verdadeira essência da artista. Quero agradecer de coração ao Giulio por ter escolhido o nosso podcast para divulgar o livro para o grande público aqui do Brasil. Foi uma honra, Giulio. Muito obrigada. E agradeço também a você que está ouvindo. Só peço um pouquinho de paciência. A entrevista é em inglês e nós não somos nativas nem professoras, mas fizemos tudo com muito carinho. Agora, sem mais enrolação, vamos ao episódio e muito obrigada. Olá, eu sou a Vicia.
E eu sou a Sama. E esse é o especial Entrevistas do Madonna Vicia Podcast.
Estamos aqui para provar
que a Madonna vicia.
E vicia muito.
Hi everybody, I am Sama, and this is a special episode of the Madonna Vicia podcast. We will be speaking with Giulio Mazzoleni, author of the book Madonna Songbook. Olá pessoal, eu sou a Sama e esse é um episódio especial do Madonna Vicia podcast. Conversaremos com Giulio Mazzoleni, autor do livro Madonna Songbook.
Hi everybody, I am Vicia. Olá pessoal, eu sou a Vicia. Hi Giulio, how are you doing? First of all, thank you so much for agreeing to chat with us. We're two women who have been passionate about Madonna for decades. I'm a photographer and Sama a psychologist. I've been following her journey since the 1980s, and we create the Madonna Vicia podcast as a way to celebrate this artist who inspires us so deeply. It's a real joy to speak with you, someone who also dove deep into the world. To start off, could you briefly introduce yourself to Madonna Brazilians fans? Olá, Giulio, tudo bem com você? Antes de tudo, agradecemos imensamente por topar conversar com a gente. Somos duas mulheres apaixonadas por Madonna há décadas. Eu sou fotógrafa e a Sama, psicóloga. Acompanhamos sua trajetória desde os anos 80 e criamos o Madonna Vicia Podcast como uma forma de celebrar essa artista que tanto nos inspira. É uma alegria poder conversar com você, que também se dedicou a mergulhar no universo dela. Para começarmos, você poderia se apresentar brevemente para os fãs brasileiros?
Thank you so much, Vicia and Sama. I'm really happy to be your guest. I have many followers from Brazil, and I know Madonna is extremely loved from Brazilians, and she loves you guys back. It's a joy for me to be on this podcast and to speak to Brazilian fans. My name is Giulio Mazzoleni. I am 52. I'm a music artist and a communication consultant and an author. I was born and raised in Bergamo, Italy, and I've lived in Milano, nearby my hometown, since the early 90s. I am extremely connected to music because since the age of 12, I've wanted to work in this industry, and after graduating at university, I pursued a career in the music industry. I worked at Universal Music for 15 years, then I managed artists for another 10 years, and now I've expanded my business to other cultural activities, but I still curate musical events.
Muito obrigada, Vici e Sama. Estou muito feliz em ser convidado de vocês. Tenho muitos seguidores no Brasil e sei que a Madonna é extremamente amada pelos brasileiros e ela retribui esse amor. É uma alegria para mim estar nesse podcast e falar com os fãs brasileiros da Madonna. Meu nome é Giulio Mazzoleni, tenho 52 anos, sou artista musical, consultor de comunicação e autor. Nasci e cresci em Bergamo, na Itália, e moro em Milão, perto da minha cidade natal. Desde o início dos anos 90, sou extremamente ligado à música, porque desde os 12 anos quis trabalhar na indústria. Depois que me formei na universidade, segui uma carreira na indústria musical. Trabalhei na Universal Music por 15 anos e depois gerenciei artistas por mais de 10 anos. Hoje, ampliei meus negócios para outras atividades culturais, mas ainda cuido de eventos musicais.
How long have you been a Madonna fan? Há quanto tempo você é fã da Madonna?
I have been a Madonna fan since the early fall of 1985. A friend of mine at school was a big fan of Duran Duran. We were 12 years old. She was very sexy and precocious and developed already compared to the other girls in the classroom, and definitely compared to the boys who were still childish. So was I. She was already feminine and very provocative, and I remember how intriguing she was. I was very fascinated by the fact that she had someone she admired, like Duran Duran. And I said, I want to admire someone like you do. Who could I fall in love with? And she gave me a magazine with photos of Madonna and gave me indications where to listen to her music. So I listened to the radio and I discovered Into the Groove.
Sou fã da Madonna desde o início do outono de 1985. Uma amiga minha na escola era muito fã do Duran Duran. Tínhamos 12 anos. Ela era muito sensual, desenvolvida e provocante em comparação com as outras meninas. E com certeza com os meninos, que ainda eram infantis, como eu era. Ela já era feminina e provocativa, e lembro quanto ela me intrigava. Fiquei muito fascinado pelo fato dela ter alguém que admirava, como Duran Duran. E eu pensei, quero admirar alguém como você faz. Por quem eu poderia me apaixonar? Ela me deu uma revista com fotos da Madonna e me disse onde eu poderia ouvir suas músicas. Então, ouvi na rádio e descobri Into the Groove.
Do you remember the moment you realized she was more than just another artist to you? Você se lembra quando foi o momento no qual você percebeu que ela era mais do que uma artista para você?
I can't remember if it was first the song Into the Groove on the radio or Dress You Up the video on television, but that was the time when I started being a Madonna fan. And she immediately struck me for the beauty of the songs, for the music, but also seeing Dress You Up, the way she performed it live, was magnetic to me.
Não me lembro se ouvi Into the Groove no rádio primeiro ou se vi o clipe de Dress You Up na TV. Mas foi nessa época que comecei a ser fã da Madonna. Ela me conquistou imediatamente pela beleza das músicas e também pela performance magnética de Dress You Up ao vivo.
We know this question must be common lately, but we have to ask, what inspired you to write a book focus on Madonna music? What did you feel still needed to be said or revealed about that part of her work? Sabemos que essa pergunta tem sido frequente nos últimos meses, mas é inevitável. O que te motivou a escrever um livro focado nas músicas da Madonna? O que você sentiu que ainda precisava ser dito ou revelado sobre esta parte da obra dela?
I decided to write this book because I realized that I wanted this book. As a big Madonna fan, I collect a lot of books about her, and most of the times I'm disappointed with them, except for the ones done with dedication, like the ones Matthew Rettenmund writes, Encyclopedia Madonica, MLVC 60, or the beautiful biography that Lucy O'Brien wrote called Like an Icon. Most of the others are disappointing because they exploit the celebrity, the myth, the legend, the icon, the whatever, the chatter, as I say. What I wanted was something serious and fun at the same time, but something that would make justice of something that incredibly is the reason why Madonna is famous and yet is often overshadowed by discussions about her personal life, her movies, the scandals, and so forth. It's music. I realized there were no books about her music, or there were very short books that didn't go in depth about her. And I decided to do it myself after seeing that there are beautiful books about other artists.
Decidi escrever este livro porque percebi que queria esse livro. Como grande fã da Madonna, coleciono muitos livros sobre ela e na maioria das vezes me decepciono, exceto pelos que foram feitos com dedicação, como os do Matthew Rettenmund, Enciclopédia Madônica, MLVC 60 ou a linda biografia de Lucy O'Brien, Like a Icon. A maioria dos outros livros decepciona porque explora a celebridade, o mito, a lenda, o ícone, o falatório, como eu chamo. O que eu queria era algo sério e divertido ao mesmo tempo, mas que fizesse justiça àquilo que, incrivelmente, é a razão pela qual a Madonna é famosa. E que muitas vezes é ofuscada por discussões sobre sua vida pessoal, seus filmes, escândalos, etc. A música. Percebi que não havia livros sobre a música dela, ou que os que existiam eram superficiais. Então decidi escrever eu mesmo, especialmente depois de ver belos livros sobre outros artistas.
How long did the process take, from the initial research to the final version of the book? Quanto tempo levou entre a pesquisa inicial e a conclusão do livro?
Writing this book took me about 2 years. From the day I decided to write it, I had the original idea, till the day it was released. Shortly after, I sent it to print. The first year was something very relaxed, I would say, because I would dedicate my free time to it, a Thursday evening, a Saturday afternoon, a little moment here and there to put down some notes and do some research. And then I started writing more and more, but it was really a matter of dedicating spare time. The second part was the second year when I started writing every day, including every night after dinner. And I decided cutting down my social life to have more time to write this book. And towards the end, I was writing at night, even after midnight.
Escrever este livro levou cerca de 2 anos desde o dia em que decidi escrevê-lo até o lançamento. O primeiro ano foi mais relaxado. Eu dedicava meu tempo livre, uma noite de quinta, uma tarde de sábado, para fazer anotações e pesquisar. Depois comecei a escrever mais, mas ainda era em momentos livres. No segundo ano, escrevia todos os dias, inclusive à noite após o jantar. Cortei minha vida social para ter mais tempo e, no final, escrevia até de madrugada.
Were there any particularly challenging moments? Houve momentos desafiadores nesse processo?
It was a sacrifice, but at the same time, a huge passion. I felt extremely motivated and extremely involved. And the more I wrote, the more I wanted to write. Sometimes I would find myself at 3 or 4 in the morning in front of the computer, wanting to write a sentence that didn't make sense and realizing I hadn't slept in a long time, maybe like 20 hours. So I decided I would stop there, but right in the morning at 9 a.m., I would jump out of bed and start writing again. It was really beautiful and really challenging. especially at some point in the summer last year when there were 2 weeks when I couldn't write. I remember my inspiration had a block. I had a writer's block. So with the help of Anthony Coombs, who did the fantastic design of the book, I focused on the design, on how to illustrate the book for a few days, and then I finished writing very quickly.
Foi sacrifício, mas também uma grande paixão. Quanto mais escrevia, mais queria escrever. Às vezes me via às 3 ou 4 da manhã tentando escrever uma frase, percebendo que não dormia havia 20 horas. Então parava. Mas às 9 da manhã já estava escrevendo de novo. Foi desafiador, especialmente em um momento no verão passado, quando tive um bloqueio criativo de 2 semanas. Com a ajuda do Anthony Combs, que fez o design do livro, foquei no visual e depois finalizei a escrita rapidamente.
What's your view of Madonna as a songwriter and musician? Qual é a sua visão sobre Madonna enquanto compositora e musicista? Do you think this side of her is still unrated, especially because she's a woman? Você acredita que esse lado dela ainda é subestimado, especialmente por ser mulher?
My view is that Madonna is an underrated songwriter and musician, both because she's a woman and because she has given a lot of space herself to her image and the visual impact of her career. It's hard to digest such a big phenomena like her, and therefore we always look at the surface, which is the visual impact, the visual aspect, and we rarely look underneath things. And that is the case for Madonna because the truth is that she's incredibly successful musically. But if you ask people what do you think of Madonna, their first reaction will be about her image, the length of her career, the things that she has done, the buttons she has pushed. But everything she has done refers back to her music, and I think it should be the focus of every discussion. Also, she is underrated because she
Acho que Madonna é subestimada como compositora e musicista, tanto por ser mulher, quanto por ela mesma ter dado tanto foco à sua imagem e impacto visual. É difícil digerir um fenômeno tão grande quanto ela, e por isso muitas vezes nos limitamos à superfície, à imagem, e raramente olhamos o que está por trás. Mas a verdade é que seu sucesso vem da música. As pessoas costumam falar sobre sua imagem, carreira longa, polêmicas, mas tudo remete à música, e é nisso que devemos focar. Here in Brazil, we often then see comparisons between Madonna and other artists, usually men, which sometimes end up downplaying her music contributions. Do you notice that happening outside Brazil as well? How is this aspect of her work perceived in Italy, for instance? Aqui no Brasil ainda vemos muitas comparações entre Madonna e outros artistas, geralmente homens, o que acaba diminuindo sua contribuição musical. Você percebe isso também fora do Brasil? Na Itália, por exemplo, como esse aspecto do trabalho dela é recebido?
Very often Madonna is compared to other artists in a diminutive way, as if being pure musicians in the terms of not performing with choreographies and costume changes or prop scenes was diminutive. The incredible force of Madonna is that from the little seed of a musical inspiration in the studio, she manages to build a whole world. And I think that is a positive side to her career. And finally, things are transitioning, especially for women. So people like Taylor Swift are taken more seriously nowadays than what Madonna was when she was her same age. Taylor is celebrated as a songwriter and a great performer and a visual artist as well. I think it would be different if Madonna started her career now, but for a good part of her career, she was brushed away because she was the one on MTV. In Italy, her work is perceived similarly to what you notice in Brazil. A lot of people get distracted, but at the same time, Italy is one of the countries where she is most successful at radio. You hear her songs on the radio all the time. Her old songs are played so much, and that makes me so happy because when you take all the image out, people can still enjoy her songs.
Ela também é subestimada porque, fora do Brasil também, ela é comparada a outros artistas de forma diminutiva, como se por fazer coreografias, cenários e figurinos elaborados, ela não fosse pura musicalmente. Mas o poder da Madonna está em transformar uma simples inspiração musical em um mundo completo. Hoje, artistas como Taylor Swift são levadas mais a sério, algo que não acontecia com Madonna quando ela tinha a idade da Taylor. Na Itália, sua música tem recepção semelhante à do Brasil. Muita gente se distrai com a imagem, mas ela é muito focada no rádio. Suas músicas antigas ainda tocam o tempo todo, e isso me deixa feliz. Quando tiramos a imagem, as músicas continuam impactantes. Speaking of Italy, in 1987, the so-called Madonna Mania swept across the globe, and Italy was one of its epicenters. Do you remember that time? What was it like to experience it as an Italian and a fan? Falando em Itália, em 1987 a chamada Madonna Mania tomou conta do mundo e sabemos que a Itália foi um dos epicentros. Você se lembra dessa época? Como foi viver esse momento sendo italiano e fã?
I can't forget summer 1987. Every day in the newspapers, there were articles about Madonna wanting to have her concerts in Milano, 2 shows. They were supposed to be September the 1st and the 2nd, but the local football club, which is Milan AC or Inter, both of them, I don't remember who managed the stadium, would forbid that because the people going to the concert would screw the grass of the field. There were no protections at the time, and so they were turning it down, but her records were hugely successful, so we wanted her to come and perform, and eventually they settled for the stadium in Torino, and at the very last minute they added a second date in Florence. So there was this anxiety about making it possible for her to perform, and then they even announced that she was going to be filmed. I mean, the show was going to be broadcast live by television. I was really desperate because Torino was far away from my hometown. Not so far away, to be honest. I went there yesterday with a 1-hour train ride. But back in the 80s, it felt very, very much distant. It was different. And I was only 14, and my parents were too lazy to take me there. They didn't want to face the crowd and stuff, and so they wouldn't let me go. And I was really, really sad. And I resented my parents for that. And I ended up watching the show from a small black and white TV on somebody's terrace. But then I watched that tape recording. I made them buy the first VHS tape recorder that we ever possessed, just to watch that tape for like 6 months. It was the only video cassette we had, and I watched it and watched it and watched it so many times. I know the whole show by heart.
Nunca vou esquecer o verão de 1987. Todos os dias havia notícias de que Madonna queria fazer shows em Milão. Seriam 2 datas, 1 e 2 de setembro, mas o clube de futebol local, Milan, ou Inter, não me lembro, não permitiu, pois o gramado seria danificado. Os discos dela eram um sucesso enorme e queremos vê-la ao vivo. Acabamos escolhendo o estádio de Turim e no último minuto adicionaram uma data em Florença. A ansiedade era enorme e anunciaram que o show seria transmitido ao vivo na TV. Eu fiquei arrasado porque Turim parecia longe da minha cidade. Hoje percebo que é só 1 hora de trem. Meus pais não quiseram me levar. Fiquei muito triste e com raiva dele. Assisti o show numa TV em preto e branco na varanda de alguém. Depois comprei a primeira fita VHS da família só para assistir esse show. E vi essa fita por 6 meses sem parar. Sei o show de cor.
During the celebration tour, Madonna and Stuart Price chose not to have a live band on stage, opting instead for the original studio arrangements. What did you think of that structural and aesthetic choice? Na Celebration Tour, Madonna e Stuart Price optaram por não ter uma banda no palco, priorizando os arranjos originais das gravações. O que você achou dessa escolha estética e estrutural?
To be fair, at first I was disappointed. I'm a huge fan of live music. My favorite tours from Madonna are the ones where she had the larger band, like Girly Show and Round World Tour, but even Blonde Ambition and Who's That Girl. I think these are the 4 ones where she had the best musicians, next to, I would say, MDNA. But by MDNA, she was already using many sequences, as everybody else does, to recreate the sounds. Back then, she had the inspiration of reinventing the songs, and I really liked the live playing. So I was disappointed about this choice for the Celebration Tour, but I immediately understood that choice when I saw the show myself, because I realized that they wanted to recreate, like a jukebox, the exact sounds and memories of that time for each song. And there was no way of recreating exactly that sound. And I enjoyed it, although I do prefer hearing live musicians.
Sinceramente, fiquei decepcionado no começo. Amo música ao vivo. Meus shows favoritos da Madonna são com banda completa, tipo The Girl Show, Around the World Tour, Blonde Ambition, Who's That Girl Tour e talvez MDNA. Mas na MDNA Tour, ela já usava sequências pré-gravadas para recriar sons. Mesmo assim, ela reinventava as músicas e isso era incrível. Na Celebration Tour, entendi a proposta assim que vi o show. Eles quiseram recriar os sons originais, como num jukebox, e seria impossível reproduzir isso fielmente com banda ao vivo. Então, embora eu prefira músicos ao vivo, compreendi e curti o conceito.
Did you follow the grand finale of the Celebration Tour in Brazil on Copacabana Beach? If so, what's it like to see Madonna performing for 1.6 million people? Você acompanhou o encerramento da The Celebration Tour no Brasil, na praia de Copacabana? Se sim, como foi ver Madonna diante de 1.600.000 pessoas?
I was very happy to watch the TV broadcast of the Celebration Tour final show in Brazil at the Copacabana Beach. It was my birthday last year, May the 4th. I really enjoyed the show and I was proud. It was one of the moments when I felt proud of Madonna. I would reconnect this to the same feeling I had in 1997 when she won the Golden Globe for Evita. I remember I was much younger and more enthusiastic probably, so I remember that day I was jumping up and down in the living room, screaming, she made it, she made it. I knew how important it was for her and for me too. And with this show, it felt like the icing on the cake, as people say in America. It's the final conquest of this tour, which represented a lot because Madonna started from a painful point when she almost died during rehearsals. And also she came from a previous tour where there were a lot of cancellations and there were a lot of doubts. And she managed to perform all of the 81 dates in her calendar. And she did them amazingly. And she put together a very impactful show. And a lot of people reconciliated with their memories. And I think it was a very important tour. And that show was the perfect ending. And seeing so many people celebrating her music and having a party with her was beautiful. It was really special.
Fiquei muito feliz assistindo a transmissão do show final no Brasil, na praia de Copacabana. Foi no meu aniversário, 4 de maio. Adorei o show e me senti orgulhoso dela. Lembrou a emoção de 1997 quando ela ganhou o Globo de Ouro por Evita. Eu gritava de alegria em casa. Esse show foi a cereja do bolo, o fechamento perfeito da turnê. Ela começou essa turnê depois de quase morrer nos ensaios, vindo de uma turnê anterior cheia de cancelamentos, e conseguiu cumprir as 81 datas com maestria. Foi um momento de reconciliação com muitos fãs, e ver tantas pessoas celebrando com ela foi lindo.
Is there a fun fact or behind-the-scenes story about a Madonna song that you discovered during your research or haven't shared yet? That would be an incredible gift for the Brazilian fans. Existe alguma curiosidade ou bastidor sobre uma música da Madonna que você descobriu em sua pesquisa e que ainda não tenha compartilhado publicamente? Seria um presente incrível para os fãs brasileiros.
Everything I have discovered during my research for my book has been put in the book. It was an extremely detailed research. I even flew to Washington, D.C. to go to the Library of the Congress of the United States, where the Copyright Office holds all the cassettes and original recordings when back in the days people would send their demo to file for copyright. And I was able to listen to the original tapes and discover some songs that were never heard anywhere else, including 3 songs from the Bedtime Stories Shep Pettibone sessions. You can find out about them in my book. They're called Bring It, and then I Will Always Have You, which became Inside of Me, but it's different, and Something's Coming Over, which became Secret, but it's a different song. And then I did many interviews with Stephen Bray, with Andre Betts, with Paul Pasco, with Nikki and Donna, with Rick Nowels, with Demo Castillon. It was really something special and beautiful, and everybody gave me really important information. I think my book covers a lot of subjects that had been undiscussed for a long, long time. And I'm very proud and happy of it. But I forgot one thing. I forgot to write what was the lyrical inspiration behind Into the Groove. And Madonna did mention that in one interview in 1994 that she didn't feel that special about Into the Groove because it was a song that she wrote just to get something off her chest and to forget about it right away. And it was a passion for someone who lived across the street from her, a Puerto Rican guy. If you want to know more about this, I have started a podcast myself. It's called Madonna Songbook, the podcast. And in the first episode, with Matthew Rentemund, we discuss Into the Groove and Causing a Commotion, and you will find out more about this fun fact.
Curiosidade inédita sobre uma música de Madonna? Tudo que eu descobri está no livro. Fiz uma pesquisa super detalhada. Fui até a Biblioteca do Congresso nos Estados Unidos, onde ouvi fitas originais de músicas inéditas. Encontrei 3 músicas das sessões de Bedtime Stories com o Shep Pettibone: Bring It, I Will Always Have You, que virou Inside of Me, mas é diferente, e Something's Coming Over, versão inicial de Secret. Também entrevistei Step Bray, Andre Beats, Paul Pasco, Nick e Donna, Rick Nowels e Demo Castillon. Foi incrível. Só esqueci de mencionar a inspiração por trás de Into the Groove. Em uma entrevista de 1994, Madonna disse que escreveu essa música para desabafar. Era sobre um porto-riquenho que morava em frente a ela. Falo mais sobre isso no meu podcast, Madonna Songs Book. O podcast, no primeiro episódio, é com Matthew Rentemund.
In your opinion, what's Madonna's best song? The one you always go back to? Na sua opinião, qual é a melhor música de Madonna? Aquela que você voltaria sempre.
It's hard to choose, obviously, one song, but I would say the one that I keep going back to, it's Vogue, because it represents so much musically, aesthetically, socially, for her commitment for the LGBTQ community, for the style that the voguing represents, for the sound that she put together with Shep Pettibone, for the melody that she so magnificently put together. It's such an iconic song. But just FYI, I like songs from all of her career. Among my favorites are definitely Into the Groove, Open Your Heart from the 80s, Sooner or Later, Vogue, Erotica, Secret from the 90s, The Power of Goodbye as well. And from the 2000s, I would say my favorite is Give It To Me, next to Celebration. I'm Addicted from MDNA is a song I adore. And obviously Ghost Town. Come on.
Melhor música da Madonna? Difícil escolher uma só, mas volto sempre a Vogue. Ela representa muito, musicalmente, esteticamente, socialmente. A conexão com a comunidade LGBTQIA+, o estilo do voguing, a melodia com Shep Pettibone, tudo é icônico. Mas gosto de todas as fases. Into the Groove, Open Your Heart, Sooner or Later, Erotica, Secret, The Power of Goodbye, Give It To Me, Celebration, I'm Addicted, Some Girls, Ghost Town.
And if you don't mind saying, what's her least impactful song? The one you'd leave off your playlist? E se possível, responder sem culpa, qual seria a menos impactante? Aquela que você deixaria fora da playlist?
Oh, well, there are some songs that I never listen to. Obviously, I'm not such fixated fan that would say that everything she's done is fantastic. I have my personal taste as well, but I really like a lot of her 500 songs. You can find them all in my book, and I would say I really, really like many of them. But one that I really don't like is Revolver. I don't know. It doesn't sound Madonna to me. I know that it's a lot of fun, and it was beautiful the way she did it during the MDNA tour. But nah, I don't ever go to listen to it. Or another one is Autotune Baby. I really like the irony of that song, but it's definitely a song I don't go and listen to. If it comes up, maybe I would skip it.
Menor impacto, tem músicas que nunca escuto. Não sou aquele fã que diz que tudo que ela faz é maravilhoso. Tem o meu gosto. Não gosto de Revolver. Não soa como Madonna pra mim. Mesmo que na MDNA Tour tenha sido divertida. Também pulo Autotune Baby. Engraçada, mas não curto.
Finally, what are your expectations for Madonna's next album, set to be released in 2025? Para finalizar, quais são suas expectativas em relação ao próximo álbum da Madonna previsto para 2025?
I have no expectations for Madonna's next record. I have learned not to have expectations and to be open to what she delivers. This happened to me with Madame X, and it was fantastic because instead of saying I want her to do another Express Yourself, I hope she does another Ghost Town. You know, all of these things that spoil us. I was open. I had open heart and an open mind, and she came with a fantastic record, I think. So inspired, so rich of sounds, so diverse. It was so refreshing. It was beautiful. And it was just a new chapter. And that's the way I lived it. And this is the same I want to feel when she comes out with a new album, which I hope comes out at the end of this year, but I don't want her to rush things. And, you know, people nowadays are used to, you know, hearing that she's in a recording studio and think it's coming out next week. Last week, they announced the Netflix series, and they're like, oh, we will see it at the Venice Film Festival in September. No, it takes years to make a TV series. We have to be patient. And every album that Madonna did, except for a very limited number, like a Virgin and probably I'm Breathless, were done in at least 6 to 8 to 12 months. So we have to give her time. And I will be open and interested. Obviously, I'm fascinated by the idea that she's doing new songs with Stuart Price, who's a great producer, and I would expect them to be dance-oriented, but who knows? We will find out.
Expectativa para o próximo álbum? Não tenho expectativas. Aprendi a estar aberto ao que ela oferece. Foi assim com Madame X e foi ótimo. Não fiquei esperando por outro Express Yourself ou Ghost Town. Estava com o coração e a mente aberta. E foi um disco inspirado e divertido. Espero que o novo disco saia no fim do ano, mas não quero que ela se apresse. Hoje em dia, as pessoas acham que se ela está no estúdio hoje, o álbum sai semana que vem. Não é assim. Gravar leva tempo. De 6 a 12 meses. Temos que dar tempo a ela. Se ela está com Stuart Price, talvez seja algo mais dançante. Mas vamos ver.
Do you think she still has the power to surprise the music world once again? Você acredita que ela ainda pode surpreender o mundo musical mais uma vez?
Yes, of course, Madonna has an incredible power of surprising us with great music. The difference will be made by how open the mainstream audience will be to her new music. Age is an important factor. We tend to think that people cannot deliver great music at a certain age, but of course you cannot repeat yourself, and you cannot expect Stevie Wonder to give us another huge album like he did in the 70s and 80s, for example. But at the same time, Madonna has been proving that she has a great standard that she never goes under. Even the albums that people may be like, I didn't really like that much, if you compare it to other pop stars, they're always above this line. So she does have the power. And for instance, take what happened to Cher with Believe at about the age that Madonna is now. She had a huge success because the song was great, but also it was a good moment for her. And I hope it will be a good moment for Madonna in the people's minds when she releases the new music.
Se ela ainda pode surpreender? Claro que sim. Madonna tem esse poder. A diferença será se o público mainstream estará aberto para isso. A idade pesa nas expectativas, mas ela sempre manteve um alto padrão. Mesmo os discos menos populares são melhores do que de muitos artistas. Olha o que aconteceu com Cher e Believe, sucesso aos 50 a mais. Madonna pode ter esse momento também.
Thank you, Julio, for bringing light to Madonna's music. She deserves it. Obrigado, Júlio, por trazer luz para a música de Madonna. Ela merece.
It was fantastic to be your guest. I mean, I'm so thankful for you to have invited me and found this way for me to speak to your listeners, even if I don't speak Portuguese. I'm really sorry I don't speak your language, but we're Latin and we kind of understand. I sometimes listen to your podcast at the slow speed, and I understand little bits here and there, and I'm really happy to have found a way to communicate to the Brazilian fans. I hope you can access my book. I know that it's not on Amazon in Brazil. We're trying to fix this, but it seems impossible. We're looking for a distributor in Brazil. If anybody has a suggestion, please contact me on Madonna Songbook on Instagram. Send me a DM. Otherwise, you can get the book from the publisher on their website. You can find the link on my Instagram page. And I know it's a bit expensive to send it because it's 3 kilos, 700 pages. But if you get together with friends and buy 2, 3, or 4 copies, the shipment cost grows, but not so much. So it becomes a little less expensive for each of you. That's just a suggestion. It's only in English. It's not going to be out in Portuguese. I'm sorry. And it's not available digitally. It's only physical. It has to be a special possession. This is how I imagined it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you cannot access the book, you can listen to my podcast. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sama. Thank you so much, Visha. It's been great to talk to you. Ciao.
Foi maravilhoso participar. Agradeço muito por me convidarem e por encontrar uma forma de me comunicar com os fãs brasileiros. Mesmo sem falar português, somos latinos, a gente se entende. Às vezes escuto o podcast de vocês em velocidade lenta e entendo um pouco. Fico feliz em me conectar com os fãs do Brasil. Espero que consigam acessar meu livro. Sei que não está na Amazon Brasil. Estamos tentando resolver. Procuramos um distribuidor no Brasil. Se vocês tiverem alguma sugestão, mandem para mim no meu Instagram, @MadonnaSongbook. Podem comprar pelo site da editora. O link está lá no meu Instagram. O frete é caro. O livro pesa 3 quilos, tem 700 páginas. Mas se juntarem 2 ou 3 ou 4 amigos, o custo do envio pode diminuir. É só uma dica. O livro está apenas em inglês, não terá versão em português e não existe versão digital. É uma posse física especial, foi assim que imaginei. Se não conseguirem o livro, ouçam o meu podcast. Muito obrigado, Sama, muito obrigado, Vicia. Foi ótimo conversar com vocês. Tchau! Você acabou de ouvir
o Madonna Vicia Podcast.
Até a próxima!
Tchau!